So everybody says you either have to niche down or become your own niche, and both are terrible options. So if you niche down too hard, you end up sticking with the same 5 dang topics year after year after year and burning out because of that. But if you become your own niche, you no longer look like the expert. It's hard for you to get views and get paid because you're talking on a variety of different topics, and your audience really only wants you for whatever you end up getting the most views for. And so you're stuck in a cycle of up and down views, and it's very hard to scale that business model. But there's a secret third option that is blowing up small channels in 2025, and it's a pattern I've seen on YouTube, and I'm calling it niche stacking. I've seen it firsthand with our own students. So for instance, let's look at Lauren Mefford's channel, okay? She combined 2 different niches that ding, 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 complement each other. So they have to complement each other. I'm gonna show you guys exactly how to find these niches that do that in a minute. But she combined motherhood with self-help in her video titled The Notebook That Saved This Homemaker from Infinite Scrolling. It went viral and changed her whole channel strategy. If you noticed, it's not just like how to clean my house as a mom or meal prepping as a mom, topics that have been oversaturated year after year after year. She's basically creating her own demand by combining complementary niches. So typically mothers don't talk about notebooks, they don't talk about dopamine or scrolling. That's more of like the self-help, masculine dominated niche, but she's put them together and it went viral instantly. Another student who has only posted 12 times on YouTube is brand new, Nancy Libby. Okay, so she stacked 2, again, complementary niches, homesteading with carnivore diet. So she literally raises rabbits and I think chickens, and that's all she eats. She eats meat, she's carnivore. She has a carnivore homestead. It's genius. And so 12 videos in, she posted this one, 4 meat myths that could be making you sick, and it blew up literally overnight, changing her whole strategy. And honestly, even for me, I posted this one video recently. I combined motherhood with YouTube tips. Like, who would have thought? And this was my video, your 2025 plan to make 100K on YouTube as a stay-at-home mom. And this video is like my fastest growing video right now. And YouTube tips is a pretty niche. It doesn't have a super wide TAM, total addressable market, like carnivore or homesteading or motherhood, like moms. And so this did so well for me. So no, you do not need to pick between boring repetition and total randomness. You just need to stack. And in this video, I'm gonna share with you guys exactly how to use niche stacking to grow faster, stand out from the competition, and finally build a channel that makes real income. I'm talking 6 and 7 figures. But if you guys are new here, my name is Hayley, and I basically teach new and even established YouTubers how to leverage YouTube by creating their own digital assets that they can sell so that they don't have to rely on the backs of algorithms that they don't own. This is how I was able to build this 7-figure business, leveraging this channel that you're looking at right now while working 1 day a week and homeschooling my 4 children. We work as a family. It's like our family business with my husband, and it's all because of the way that we've leveraged YouTube and how we've structured our business. So if that interests you, subscribe down below. I also have a free, really lengthy masterclass. It's like a training on how my business is structured to be able to have all this time with my family and scale my business month after month, and I'll link that down below. Let's go ahead and first talk about the biggest problem that people are missing when it comes to becoming your own niche or niching down or making up all these jargony words, and why they just cannot grow, and how stacking niches is the answer. So here's what most creators do, at least they have, and I did this on my main channel for like a good 7 years. They basically look at competition. So they look at large YouTubers, that doesn't even matter, small YouTubers. So they're scrolling through their niche, copying the biggest videos, whether it's the topic or the exact title. Sometimes they'll slap a new title and thumbnail on and hope it works. But the biggest problem with this is viewers have already seen that topic. They've already either seen the keyword or the thumbnail structured in that way. They've seen the types of videos on these topics. And so you do not bring a novel or new approach to something that's already been done 100,000 times over. But you keep doing this because you're possibly too scared of standing out, trying something new. And maybe the last 10 times you tried something new, it just flopped because you weren't relying on data, which I'm gonna show you guys how to find right now. So this is where niche stacking comes in. Instead of recycling the same tired ideas, you stack 2, like I keep saying, complementary niches together. And this is where your content starts to feel like it's brand new to people, even if it's something they've seen 100 times over. It's just repackaged in a fresh way. It takes you out of a sea of clones and puts you in a lane where there's literally no competition competition. But here's the catch, okay? A lot of people are gonna assume that you just basically combine two niches and you're making your own niche, and that's what I'm saying. Absolutely not. Even if a niche stack looks good on paper, some combinations just flop. Let's go ahead and talk about exactly how you can find the right, perfectly winning combination that will connect with your audience and help you go viral overnight like my students. So the first step is you're gonna find the gap. So like I said, not every combination will work. You have to use self-awareness and you have to use a lot of data and research on YouTube, because some combinations are just not gonna mesh well together. They're gonna feel forced and viewers are gonna be able to sniff that out immediately. I'm gonna go through some hypothetical bad examples and then show you a myriad of really good examples that will hopefully spark your ideas. But you have to know what it doesn't look like. So for instance, motherhood and tech reviews. I think this is a no-brainer, but I actually see a lot of people combining two niches that, they just do not complement each other. So the first question you have to ask yourself is the niche I'm stacking against the one that I'm currently in, does it have a wide total addressable market, otherwise known as wide TAM? All right, this is a business term, but it's so important that YouTubers understand this, because if you're stacking motherhood and tech reviews, first off, tech reviews, depending on exactly what you're talking about, can be too small, too niche of a market. And so you're not able to go viral. You're only able to grow so much because there's not that many search results. Sure, you might love both, and one day you might talk about how you're a single mom. I see this a lot. Single mothers like to combine a lot of different niches for whatever reason. You also might like a lot of gadgets and tech, like keyboards or monitors, or maybe it's cameras and motherhood. But if tired moms, hypothetically, do not care about camera equipment, then it's an audience mismatch. The second bad example that I see actually a lot that is sabotaging this type of niche is holistic living. And they don't really call it this, but what they're doing is fast fashion Amazon hauls. So it's not like their YouTube videos are titled like how to make granola or how to eat a whole foods diet, and then the next video is my fast fashion Amazon haul. It won't really look like that, but they won't know they're doing it. So maybe their video on Monday is how I live a chemical-free life with like non-toxic products. But then Wednesday, it's my fashion haul from Amazon. So the thing about it is you have to realize that you're always attracting a certain type of person with each individual video. And so analyzing like, would these two different types of people, for the video I posted on Monday and hypothetically the video I post on Wednesday, would they both watch the same two videos? If the answer is no, it's not a perfect niche stack. Obviously, crunchy, homemade remedy moms, like a lot of my homeschool mom friends, they're not looking for cheap $12 shirts that are like made in China, right? So you have to always be conscious of like, who is watching my videos and are they gonna watch all of my content or only a portion? That is why it is crucial to understand that the stack only works if the second niche you're attaching to your first niche solves the same pain point in a new way. All right, let's go on to the good examples, okay? Motherhood, I already mentioned this, and mindset. So this is a great example from one of our students, Transformed Homemaker Society. She went viral pretty instantly by, from what I can tell, niche stacking. First viral hit, and she's done several since then, is how God cured my constant overstimulation and anger. So moms obviously want a release from stress. They don't always want to see what has been oversaturated and overdone on YouTube for years, like cleaning routines, grocery hauls, or how to save money with meal prepping for dinners. Those have been done 100,000 times plus over. So Kiri from her YouTube channel basically took something that was traditionally overdone, like routines and systems and hauls, and replaced it with mindset for moms. That might sound very obvious, why wouldn't moms like that? But for whatever reason, no one has ever done it, or it's just a really small pool of people doing it. And so that is obviously what I call niche stacking. Another example of this is a student that we've worked with, Vakita Trevetti, okay? So she's combined mindset or self-love, self-confidence, so like shifting your identity internally with, now I'm gonna butcher this niche, but basically it's like attracting a mate or finding a spouse, finding a life partner. And so she does videos like how to detach. Detachment is the game changer. So as you can tell, all of these niches, they're not random mashups. They're carefully chosen stacks that basically align with what the audience already wants but presented in a way that they've never considered before. When you find that gap, you stop competing with thousands of other people trying to do the same topic with a new thumbnail over and over and over, and you start basically creating your niche of one. The second step is very hard for me to teach because you'd have to consume many hours of looking at competition on YouTube, but I'm gonna try to break it down for you guys. And that is basically validating with self-awareness. Because just because two niches obviously go next to each other doesn't mean that your audience is going to actually care. So for example, I see many channels try to stack niches. They're unknowingly doing it because they're just posting whatever they want, right? Trying to hop on trends and not standing by the stuff we talked about in last week's video. And so I will see some people basically combine topics like minimalist living with couponing. So if you think about that, maybe they go together, minimalist, kind of like, you know, they want to be frugal, they want to save money, but they're also not interested in having like, you know, 30 different types of shampoo that went on sale. They want to buy less. So couponing is probably not on a minimalist radar. Even if it's something that you do, you have to look at your audience as a whole and ask yourself, what would the majority of my audience be interested in? But on the flip side, another creator, which I found, stacked holistic living with frugal homemaking. So in essence, it's kind of the same desire, living simply and saving money, but it's presented through two completely different lenses. So here are 3 steps to know if your stack is the ideal fit. The first question you want to ask yourself is, would my ideal viewer click on this video? This is very obvious. There's so many nuances and some things may both be interesting to you, but if you look at your niche as a whole, most people aren't going to be interested in those two combined topics. The second question is, does the second niche solve the same problem in a new way, or does it solve a problem my audience just doesn't care about? And the third question is, if you were a viewer of your channel, would this be a very interesting take on a new topic said in a different way, or would it be kind of confusing? Now you want to basically start to execute the stack with proof and the most important word I say in almost every video, novelty. So novelty, being novel, is basically saying the same thing that has been said 100 times over, but repackaged with a shiny red bow, that's what I tell my students, in a completely new way. So you're taking a common problem and reframing it with a new novel solution. And so even if your solution is something that people have already done, like for instance, how to lose weight, you literally live in a calorie deficit. How many times can you say, I live in a calorie deficit in a new way? 101 ways, or more than that, okay, thousands of ways. You can say, hey, you gotta just stop eating less, putting less food into your mouth by eating more protein. You'll get filled up on protein. That was a novel way. Now it's kind of becoming saturated, right? But back in the day, it was becoming vegan and eating more beans. I don't know, I'm making that up. But there's so many different ways and solutions that you can come up with that are novel to common problems. And so it's kind of just trying to figure out, how can I say the same thing in a completely different way? So what creators will do is they will land on a really amazing stack, but they present it in the same generic format that everybody else does. So instead of standing out, they blend right in. Even if you're meshing two things together, it looks and appears that it's already been done because the title and the thumbnail just are very generic. So another bad example of this, just so you really understand, is let's say we're stacking motherhood again with self-help. You can't necessarily take a title from the niche you're stacking and slap your niche's target audience on it. For instance, 10 productivity hacks for moms. It's been done like over and over. It's a listicle. It's not said in a new way. So it basically looks like every other self-help video out there, and you're not standing out by just slapping your target market on the end. So instead you could say something like 10 productivity hacks exhausted moms need to hear, or 10 productivity hacks to let me run a 7-figure business during nap time, depending on exactly which angle you're going for. An actual example of this is one of our students, Angela Braniff, all right? She absolutely nailed this when she stacked fashion and beauty with women over 40. So you might be like, well, that is a target market, and you just said not to slap moms on it, but moms is very generic. Moms over 40 deal with a certain set of issues. So she did a video, how not to look frumpy at 40, and she's done this actually in many different ways. I don't know if she knows that I think she knows. She's an expert at this point at YouTube. She's a massive channel. You can niche stack and go viral in so many different niches on your channel. For a while, she was combining old-fashioned tips like from your grandma. I'm not exactly sure what that niche would be called, but it's an actual thing. People do videos on this topic, how to save money like your grandma did, things like that, with motherhood. She went viral multiple times for these types of topics. One of them is 21 old-fashioned frugal living tips to try today. So old-fashioned and frugal living, like they're two totally different niches, but they complement each other. Here's a framework that I like to teach my students in basically how to do this if you're coming up with your own ideas, all right? So the first step is you want to really start with a familiar format to people. We still like listicles, okay? We like 7 reasons why, those types of things. So we have like routines, tutorials, lists, hauls. Those are all still good because they are proven that people like them, but you got to stack different facets of it to make it look different, right? But the second thing you want to do is basically inject your stack directly within the title so it looks new and fresh and novel. So instead of morning routine, which has been done 1,000 times over by myself included, you're going to stack slow living morning routine with 3 kids. Slow living morning routines or slow living motherhood, right? That's kind of already been done. There's a lot of stacks that are now becoming saturated because people are catching on. That one's not one of them. It's still very viral. Another idea would be productivity hacks. So this is like self-help, being productive with Christian living. And you might think, who would want that? Well, it's blowing up like wildfire. So you would do 5 biblical habits that organize my life as a homemaker. I mean, in that one, you're stacking 3 different complementary niches. So the more the better, but it's usually only just 2. And the last thing you want to do is back it with your story. So people obviously want to learn from actual humans. And so when you say something like 5 biblical hacks that organize my life as a filmmaker, right? You're always using my whenever you can in the title so that people want to learn from you. So when you do this, your videos stop looking like knockoffs. I did knockoff videos for, I'm not kidding, like 6 or 7 years. And I don't know, I've learned a lot. It took me that long to learn this novel approach to marketing. They stop looking like knockoffs and start looking like category creators. Now, the last step, you guys are all gonna roll your eyes back into the core of the earth, like I always say, but none of this works if you don't take massive action. A lot of people will hear this information and they'd like to tell me it's like I'm shooting from a fire hose because I wanna give you guys so much information. But oftentimes I find that when I do, you sit on the info, you sit there scrolling for hours and hours and hours trying to find the best stack or trying to find the best golden nugget topic, which is another strategy I go viral with. On this channel and my main channel, I've talked about it in another video. And so you will spend all your time in competitor research zone and you're not creating. But the goal is to create at least 1 YouTube video every single week using this method and the method I'm gonna talk about next week, which is another strategy, recognizing patterns on YouTube. You have to be pushing out at least 1 video a week or else you just will not get data or even enough data to show what works and what doesn't. But if you wanna take massive action, you will take these steps in order. Number 1, write down your core niche. Number 2, brainstorm the 3 adjacent niches that your audience will most likely care about. Number 3, pick 1 overlap that feels the most natural to you and also to your audience. Number 4, draft a title that puts the stack front and center. And obviously the 5th one, script it, film it, put it on the internet as fast as humanly possible because the only way you're gonna really know if it works is if your audience tells you it does. But that is pretty much it for today's video. If you got value from this, go ahead and like the video, subscribe down below, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.